You'd have heard the term sales is a numbers game by lots of different people. What does that really mean? And how does it affect you to get better results and ensure that you're hitting the targets you want to? Let's take a look at the video and see what it means to have a sales as a numbers game and what are the numbers you need to take into account and be religiously measuring in order to ensure you get the success you want. So the first point is this. When we talk about sales being a numbers game, the numbers that we're trying to measure are really important. And the first point we've got to be clear about is, what is our sales process? I always believe that the key fundamentals behind any sales activity are the target, the plan, and the process. And what is really important that we start to measure are the key metrics that are really important to see how we're progressing from a new sales perspective. So some of the key metrics that you need to measure are as follows. How many people have downloaded or engaged, contacted you via your website? How many people have become what I would call a marketing lead or a marketing qualified lead? How many of those prospects have moved from becoming an MQL or a marketing qualified lead through to becoming a sales qualified lead? And finally, how many of those sales qualified leads are now engaged in a sales process with you? The key thing is this: most businesses expect to go from here to here straight away and in one action, and it doesn't happen very often. Most of your prospects will go on a journey with you. They'll engage with you and look at your content. They'll then look at a bit more. They'll then want to reach out and ask for information. They'll then want to go on a sales journey with you. And it's key that we know what that process looks like for us, but what it also may look like for our prospects. Knowing what that is half the battle, so we can then start to see what numbers we expect there and how can we measure them on a regular basis to see if we're improving what we do. So the next thing is this: what are the numbers I want to measure and achieve? If sales is a numbers game, what should I be measuring? There are a number of key metrics that I encourage you to measure. And of course, depending on how complex or simple you want to be, you can measure 10 items or you can measure 5 items. The key thing is this: sales is a numbers game, because the more people that we put at the top of our funnel, the better chance we're going to have of achieving success at the bottom. It's simple logic. If I put 2 people in and not everyone comes through the process, I'm going to get a different result compared to if I put 20 people in at the top of that funnel. So the first number you need to measure when it comes to sales is your target. What is it? What is it? A number of customers, an amount of revenue, or an amount of profit? Know what that number looks like and how you're going to measure it on what time period. Is it daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly? Know that number first and foremost. The second thing is this: know where you are against that target. If you've set a quarterly target, for example, of let's say £50,000, and in the middle of February, which is maybe the midway point through the quarter, if it started in January, and you're at £10,000, you know that you're only 20% of your target. Knowing that figure and knowing what you've got in place at the moment to get to you, the target itself, is really important, and we should measure and know that number. The third thing we need to then measure is know what leads and opportunities we have in our pipeline in order to be able to get to the target that we've hit. A number of people will use different methods in order to be able to identify their process, but generally I believe sales processes have 3 or 4, maybe 5 stages. So how many leads have you got at each of those individual stages? Another key thing to measure is how many leads come in on the top of your funnel on a daily or weekly basis. How many new opportunities do you bring in through the lead magnets or the forms or the engagements that you have? Start to measure how many new leads you have coming in, so we can then start to see how they filter down through the stages in the funnel. And the final thing I encourage everyone to measure is your conversion rate from stage to stage. If you get generally 100 people that come in to engage on your website, how many do you then expect to come through at the bottom to become customers? You may be amazed that even if you had 100, the best companies in the world will generally only get 4 or 5 people to come through from the top to the bottom. So it's essential we know how many people get to each individual stage so that we can adjust maybe the words we use or the text we use or the marketing or the value that we give at each stage in the process to encourage more people to come through. The very best companies know that if they've got a number at the top, if they can improve the number that come through at the bottom through the actions they take, they're going to be in a far better position. So point number 3 when it comes to sales being a numbers game is it's really important to consider timing when it comes to engaging with new leads. Depending on your industry, some people will look when they get a new opportunity that comes through to respond very quickly. And it's been proven that the quicker you respond to a highly qualified sales lead, the better chance you've got of winning that business. But you also need to be careful. If you pounce on a new lead, for example, a new marketing lead, maybe it's a download, who's just been interested in your understanding your service, and then you go straight in there and try and sell to those people, don't be afraid if they start to then back off and think, I'm not ready for this yet. The key thing is it's really important to engage and understand what your leads are doing when they start working with you. How much time have they spent already understanding you and your product or service? And there's technology that can show you now whether they've spent time on your website, what they've engaged with, and I recommend different tools. Reach out to me and let me know, and I can share a link with you on some tools that can help you put some of this in place and enable you to see what new leads are doing with you and then know the right time to engage with them. The key is about timing here. Do it when it's right, but make sure it's right for the prospect and not just because it's right for you. And the fourth and final point is this: record numbers religiously. Have a list of all of the numbers that you can start to show on a weekly basis to see how you're performing. Are you doing well? Are you doing better compared to last week? How have you done over that weekly period? And what actions have you taken? Maybe it was a social media post that resulted in a boost for marketing qualified leads. If you record the numbers religiously, and I encourage some of my clients that I'm working with to do that certainly weekly, you can start to see what's happening and start to see what the peaks and troughs look like and what actions are achieving better results for you. The reality is, in business, sales is a numbers game. It's about how many opportunities do we get and how many do we convert. But I work with my clients to help them move each individual prospect through each stage, and I encourage them to be able to be realistic about how many are going to move from stage 1 through to stage 5. We work to achieve those numbers by getting better at sales and by understanding what are the factors that move a prospect between one stage to the other. If you want to get better, you've got to understand that, and you've got to know that the most important thing is to get more people at the top to get more people out of the bottom. Sales is a numbers game, and the amount of calls and engagements we have and the way in which we share value and offer value to our prospects is going to help us win more business. So I hope this video has been helpful in being able to explain some of the numbers that you can record when it comes to sales. The reality is this: I'm going to share with you a metric sheet that you can use, which I'll attach to the bottom of the video. Use this to start to record key information, and you'll be amazed at what it can show you and give you insight into how your sales is performing and what results you get. I'm a man that loves seeing those numbers go to big levels, and I'd love to help you get the same results. Thanks for watching. If you love the channel and love the video, please share it or comment in the section below. I'd love to know what numbers and metrics you're recording to help you get incredible sales results.